Hey everybody, and welcome to this Thursday's episode of MBE Movie News, where I, John, of course, discuss a wide array of hopefully exciting movie news topics and just topics around the world of entertainment and Hollywood in general. Today, I'm going to be headlining the show with a rather intriguing little headline, an article from Empire. It's all about one remarkable Canadian-French director, of course, the great Denis Villeneuve, revealing that he is very open to revisiting the world of Blade Runner. This is an exclusive from Empire, and they were actually speaking to the man himself during their podcast. I believe they were discussing the top 100 movies of the last decade, and they ranked Villeneuve's Blade Runner 2049, a wonderful little movie, incidentally, that nowhere near enough people went to support at the theatres when it was on its release. They have ranked that at number 45. And that, of course, brought up the conversation about Blade Runner, the universe of Blade Runner, and Denis Villeneuve perhaps looking to come back. And he said, and I do quote, "It's such an inspiring place, the Blade Runner world." He's went on to say that the only issue he would have with it would be it being branded another sequel. He doesn't like the word sequel, which would probably explain why he left Sicario 2 and just made that movie, although it was still good, slightly less good than what the original Sicario was. That would probably explain it. Not a fan of sequels. But he says, look, he wants it to be unconnected if it's to happen. He likes original stories. But if you ask me if I'd like to visit this or revisit this universe in a different way, then I can say yes. It would need to be a project on its own, something disconnected from both other movies. A detective noir story set in the future. I wake up sometimes in the night dreaming about it. Now, they do go on to say, with a nice little play on words, do androids dream of electric sheep? Do French-Canadian filmmakers dream of spin-offs to iconic science fiction cinema? Well, I tell you what, Denis does dream of it. And now that I'm armed with knowledge of Denis dreaming of a return to Blade Runner, I'm going to start dreaming about it as well. Look, I was late to the party with Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner. I only watched that movie for the first time about 2 years ago. But I knew it was a cult classic. I was aware of Harrison Ford, the great man, has obviously played so many interesting characters. Being in this, and that was one of his more intriguing roles as Rick Deckard. I was well aware of Rachel, obviously. I never remember. I think it was Walsh was her name. Sean Young, sorry. My name's Walsh. Sean Young playing Rachel, and of course the late great Rutger Hauer. So I was acutely aware of the movie. I was acutely aware of it being a cult classic. But when I finally watched it, my mind was absolutely blown by this movie. The fact that it hadn't aged dramatically, it seemed to have held up over the years in terms of aesthetics and in terms of just this grime and gritty dystopian futuristic world. And then you arm that with the great performances from the aforementioned actors and just the incredible balancing of themes that we got out of the fantastic Ridley Scott and also his writers, Hampton Fancher and David Webb Peoples. The script was amazing. It was nuanced and it went to places that sci-fi movies, generally speaking, don't go to. They usually are a little bit more airy or they're more horror-centric. This one was neither. It dabbled in existentialism, what it means to be a conscious living being, and it was just incredibly crafted, and it was an amazing visceral experience for me finally watching this movie for the first time. So when of course Blade Runner 2049 came out maybe 6-7 months afterwards from my first watching of Blade Runner, then I was excited to go in and revisit this world again and see what Denis Villeneuve could give us. Now, admittedly, it wasn't as good as the original movie, but when you're dealing with cult classics and just absolute classics, some would say, then it's almost impossible to top what's came, and it's nigh on impossible to beat Ridley Scott when he does that genre anyway. But I thought Denis done a splendid job. I really did. I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the performance of Ryan Gosling as Kay. I enjoyed him once again juggling existential questions, really juggling dark and deep emotive themes within this world, and that's something that excites me about him potentially coming back. We know this man can do it. We know he's capable of juggling so many different themes and undercurrents and emotions, and he gets great performances out of everyone he seems to work with, the likes of Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt and Sicario, the likes of Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner, and obviously Arrival. And then, as I did mention, bringing Harrison Ford back, Ryan Gosling in there, Ana de Armas as Joy. That was another thing they did really well, this concept of, in the future, are things so bleak and isolationist that people have to start having emotional connections, romantic relations with AI. So again, it's just a ripe environment, and that's why I'm so excited, as I kind of get sidetracked about seeing him coming in and doing this, because I want to see this man coming back to this world. I thought it was stunning what Roger Deakins did in terms of visuals. I thought it was stunning the way he carried on the original movie in terms of story, but also expanded it out and did something different with it. So that gave us a glimpse into what he can do in this world. If he's doing his own unique story from his brain, which is fantastic, bringing in another array of amazingly talented actors, maybe get the likes of David Dastmalchian in as well. He seems to be a recurring name on his cast list. And then give us more incredible themes being balanced around this dystopian future. Sky's the limit. I can't wait to see the man do Dune later on in the year. It's been called the next Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, in terms of the expansiveness of it, what they're doing with this story going off and humanity's last hope and this raw, rare mineral which is on an alien world. I can't wait to see that, and I cannot wait to see if he does indeed coming back to Blade Runner. I'm sure if he has a story, then there's no studio in the world going to stop this man doing what he wants with that story. But look, talking about great actors, talking about great directors teaming up together, next topic is coming in from Screen Rant. It's all about Matt Damon, confirmed to be reteaming with James Mangold, a man he of course worked with on last year's Ford v Ferrari to really good effect. Another movie I really enjoyed. Really happy to see it got some recognition at the Best Picture, in the Best Picture category at this year's Oscars. It won't win, but James Mangold is just a thoroughly amazing director. What he did with Logan and whatnot is just incredible. Matt Damon, in terms of a writer, in terms of an actor, been on a slightly downward slope over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Found success again starring alongside Christian Bale and obviously working under James Mangold. He is of course going to be working with Ridley Scott, so there's slight connections in there on The Last Duel. That will start obviously I think production later on in the year, and that's perhaps why we're getting news of this, and it's perhaps why James Mangold is also going off and doing a Bob Dylan biopic with Timothée Chalamet. It's just try to keep the mind busy, working away whilst schedules free up. But look, I'm excited for this. It's based, the movie he's working on, incidentally, I never got into it, was The Force. It's based on an award-winning novel about crime and corruption, and one detective being tangled up in it all and having to try and find his way out of it. I'd presume. I've never read the novel, but I'm excited about it. Apparently it's a very, very good book. Apparently it's ripe for being adapted. And Mangold, by all accounts, has been wanting this for a long, long time. He's wanted to make it. It's been put off and he's had to go off and do different projects. But he's obviously got on really well with Matt Damon. He's enjoyed how the man's operated under him on the set of Ford v Ferrari, and he is getting back together with him. Now they do say, and I think it was Stephen King that says it, that this novel, The Force novel, is like The Godfather with cops. So if that's even remotely true, The Godfather with cops, you think of how expansive that story is, how many rat holes and pits and whatnot in terms of emotional and just literal being laid by these nefarious people in the shadows and whatnot in that story, and just where you could go with this in terms of bringing in an amazing cast, where you could go with this with a mind like Mangold's. Incidentally, I think he's working with a writer that he has worked with before. Again, I can't find the goddamn name of it, man. It's Logan Scribe, Scott Frank, the man who wrote Logan. So he seems to be assembling a very exciting cast indeed, and he is assembling an equally exciting crew. The story is there, it's ripe for adaptation. I like the way this is going. I'm very much excited for it, and I hope Matt Damon, a man who I've been a big fan of for a long, long time, I've enjoyed the likes of the Bourne movies and whatnot, and now obviously getting back to Good Will Hunting. I want to see this man continuing on and just growing again. We'll have a slight renaissance, although you have to be away to have a renaissance, and some would argue that Matt has never been gone. So I'm just happy for him anyway. Can't wait to see what he does with Mangold once again on this very exciting, very promising upcoming project. Now, moving on though, guys, to the next topic. This one is all about Captain Marvel 2. Now, it's officially happening, but that is not what I want to be speaking about. I want to be speaking about another article, which I don't have in front of me. Shock horror. Wouldn't be a show with me if there wasn't technical issues with an iPad. But no, this one's all about the original directors not working again on this movie. Of course, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck were the two who crafted and helmed the original Captain Marvel movie. I think they were co-writers as well, if my mind isn't playing tricks on me. But they will not be coming back to work on this. They're instead going to be using their creative cerebralness, if that's even a word, on the upcoming MCU Disney Plus series WandaVision. Now, I don't know what this says about Captain Marvel as an IP, as a brand. If they are discarding that film and Brie Larson's supposed strongest Avenger of all time for a mere TV show on Disney Plus, I don't think it speaks highly about where this character ranks in terms of importance in the MCU. Of course, there'll be people out there who would disagree with that. They really love Brie Larson. I don't mind her. I don't love her though. And who really like the character of Captain Marvel. Now, again, I'm not shitting on Captain Marvel. I actually didn't mind the movie. I liked the character in the main. She was a little bit annoying at times, but look, Thor was annoying at times. Lord knows Captain America was even slightly grating at times as well, with this holier-than-thou pretentious nonsense in the early days of that character. So that's not something that's new or that's mind-bending or revolutionary by any means. But look, what did I make of this? Well, I don't make much about it. I just wanted to speak about it because, yeah, it's out there. It's relatively big news. The two original directors are not coming back. The show will go ahead though. Kevin Feige will bring in someone who is equally talented to helm the next movie. Brie Larson, Oscar-winning actress. She will give her goddamn best in this role. And I'm sure it'll be an exciting, viscerally enjoyable story in terms of aesthetics. All MCU movies usually are. Who will they bring in? I couldn't even begin to start naming names. But look, we've seen this before with the likes of Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man, and they just replace him with... Who the hell was? I always forget the man's goddamn name. It's so annoying. It doesn't matter. They brought in another equally brilliant director. It annoys the life out of me that I can't remember it at the moment, but I ain't got time to worry about things like that. And they've done it also with Scott Derrickson, and they are shaking up some directorial positions, some assumed directors coming on board and maybe doing something new. Maybe it's a creative decision. Maybe they're wanting to go off, Kevin Feige that is, in Marvel Disney, on a different direction for the second movie, and therefore they have just given Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck some crumbs in the vein of WandaVision. Lord knows, I ain't got much more to add to it though. It was a short and sweet little topic, so I'm going to move swiftly onwards to the next topic, which is coming in from Cinema Blend, and it's all about Bradley Cooper and how he was apparently a huge help with the final cut of Joker. This is coming from, I believe, it was Jeff Groff, who was Joker's editor. I had to read down the article there, and he gave us a various lengthy quotes, but in conjunction, I want to say, or in conclusion, I'll try and paraphrase it, that's the word I'm looking for. He says that he kept the actual movie pretty close. They screened it to a limited amount of people. Personally, for people and filmmakers, he says that Bradley Cooper definitely came in a few times and cast his expert eye over the movie, and he gets stuck in and trying to help and says, hey, can you come over and take a look at things? And he came in and gave his spare time to the project. He went on to say that he has a cute eye for detail and been able to pick out the tiniest little minuscule issues, highlight them, and then how that then subsequently played out for the original movie, he says was paramount to its success. They're going to say that Bradley Cooper is also one of a number of individuals who contributed to Joker's success, but look, this is not something that I am even remotely surprised about. This man has obviously worked on a wide array of different movies in terms of doing producing work. He has worked on the likes of Limitless, if I can say it, American Hustle, American Sniper, obviously done a numerous amount of roles on A Star Is Born, so he's really proven himself to be a real star and a master of many trades. He's grown from strength to strength as a figure, and I'm acutely aware that he worked on Joker, so this is no surprise to me at all. But look, I'm going to use this as a slight excuse to go off on a slight tangent on Joker and what I perceive to be some really ill-judged and ridiculous comments that have been directed rather pointedly at this movie since its nomination for Best Picture, and since it has gained a living nominations, the most at this year's Oscars. I think it's an absolute joke the way some people are turning on this movie and really try to portray it as a pile of shit that's meaningless, it's worthless, essentially saying Todd Phillips is not a very good director, that this movie is a paint-it-by-numbers creation. And look, I couldn't disagree anymore. I thought the movie was wonderful. It really touched me internally in terms of what they were exploring, in terms of mental health, in terms of social injustices and how that shapes some monsters in today's society. I think it's more poignant and fitting than ever for today's society and where we are seemingly going, this more isolationist and cool and cold place where people can't really come out and speak about their issues, feel like they are on the lonesome, and they get battered down and again. And I thought this was a really powerful story that had to be told for a new generation of people who will not want to go and watch the likes of Taxi Driver or King of Comedy or one of the great Scorsese movies from the 70s. This is for general audiences who need a slant like a Joker put on a movie to go and watch it in their droves. So I thought it was a powerful movie. I thought Todd Phillips did a really great job on it. I really hope Joaquin Phoenix picks up the Oscar, and I really cannot understand the backlash this movie's receiving at the moment. I think it's ridiculous, it's absurd, and just because movies like Little Women, which was equally great, perhaps The Lighthouse and Hustlers didn't get nominated in place of Joker, people are getting all butthurt about it. Well, look, A24 do not do the necessary work, the necessary promotion to woo audience, Academy members, and therefore they do not get the Oscar nominations that they are perhaps deserving of, and that's something I'm going to get into next. But look, needless to say, Bradley Cooper, great guy, glad to see that he had a real hands-on approach, and despite having a packed schedule and being a really busy man, he found it within himself to go in and commit his time and again to watch numerous screeners. I think that speaks volumes about a guy who increasingly seems to be coming across as a real decent chap. And yeah, I'm glad to see that the movie's getting its rightful recognition despite some backlash from a little panty-wetting bitches. But look, moving on swiftly. Speaking of the Academy and the weighing process for receiving the Oscar nominations at their ceremony, this one is coming in from MovieWeb, and it's all about Adam Sandler and why he didn't score any Oscar nominations for Uncut Gems. I say nominations in a sense of plural, because obviously the movie didn't score anything, it was completely snubbed out of existence. And this one's coming from Kevin Bullock. He's been speaking to numerous members of the Academy, and they have been explaining, perhaps under cloak and daggers, why this movie didn't get any nominations. He says that was a tour de force. He's emerging as a truly great actor, but then he does cheesy Netflix comedies that are really dumb. There are a lot of movies, a lot of performances per year for us to watch. Unfortunately, actors become brands. Sandler's brand doesn't scream Oscar, but Leo DiCaprio's and Jonathan Pryce's do. They go on to speak further that if he has another great performance, much like Eddie Murphy, that the next time it will be perhaps nominated and given recognition at the Oscars. Now, I can't get over quite how pretentious that whole spiel from this Cloak and Daggers Academy member actually was. I can't get over it. Certain people become brands. Adam Sandler is not a brand. It doesn't scream Oscar, but Leo DiCaprio and Jonathan Pryce do. Well, what a lot of absolute horse shit that absolutely is. This man put in a apparently amazing performance. I've still not seen Uncut Gems, but enough people have spoken about it. Says that it really affected them. It was a hard movie to watch, but that he was simply wonderful as the title of character in it. And I was under the impression that obviously I know differently now, so having done some research on it, and that's something I'll compare to the last little spiel I did about not Uncut Gems, about The Lighthouse and perhaps The Farewell and stuff like that, A24 movies. It should not be about how much you woo and dine the Academy members. It should not be about how much money you pump in to the Oscar campaigns in terms of trying to get your movie driven to the forefront of Academy members' minds. It should be about artistic merit. How good is this movie in terms of a wide array of aspects, technical, written aspects, aesthetics, cinematography, acting, performances? That should be the main thing that's really at the forefront of Academy members' minds. And then when it comes to actual performances like Adam Sandler's, which was apparently amazing, it should not be about the array of supposed poor Netflix comedies that the man has created or starred in over the last 10 years. that's completely irrelevant. That's in the past. It's on the singular performance he gave in Uncut Gems. That's what should be the most important thing here. And I think this just speaks volumes about the Academy, the pretentiousness, the snobbishness of some of the members within, some of whom probably don't even make movies. They're probably just some stuck-up, ancient, octogenarian shit sitting in a mansion somewhere and spewing absolute shite, probably watching the movie on a standard definition screener that he's been sent through the post. And here he is, talking about Adam Sandler's performance and really denying him maybe a sole or singular chance of Oscar glory. I think it's disgraceful. But as I did say, I would get into the comparison of A24. It's just the way that this industry seems to work over there in the United States. I don't know if it's the same over here with the BAFTAs. I would hope we are more merit-centric when it comes to gifting out awards. But you really have to put on sustained campaigns, and that seems to be where the likes of Netflix and Disney do best. The likes of your nefarious figures like your Harvey Weinsteins, who pumped millions upon millions of dollars into Oscar campaigns to give maybe smaller budget movies a chance of recognition. It should not be about that. It should be about performances. I know the Farewell's director, whose name eludes me at the moment, supposedly one of the best directing performances of the year, and she's been completely shunned, and it's because she's with A24. And as I did say, that's because they do not woo and dine the Academy quite enough. They do not put anywhere near enough money into their Oscar campaigns, and therefore they don't get the nominations they probably deserve. And A24, big fan of that studio, really have been for a number of years. The movies they put together are simply stunning. The likes of, I'm pretty damn sure Hereditary was A24, Midsummer. We have got The Lighthouse with also Robert Eggers and William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. A simply stunning movie I cannot wait to see. Comes out on, I believe, the 31st of January. Over here, they don't get the recognition, and it's disgraceful. But look, guys, I'm gibbering on again and again and again. I'm going to move on. I ain't got much more to add. It's a real shame that Adam hasn't been given recognition. I don't really see how he could have won this year, because I feel like it is Joaquin Phoenix's year. But again, there's no need for the snobbery and level of pretentiousness that the Academy seems to dish out on these matters. They want to get a grip, really. Shake it up, because it's wrong in so many levels. But look, guys, I'm going to move on from the topics news part of the show, and I'm going to move swiftly and very conclusively into the end of the show, which is all about the blog rundown. It's our last 3 movie reviews that I have not yet spoken about on our blog at movieburnerentertainment.org. Of course, I am summarising these now. I'm not going deep into them. I have only got about 4 or 5 minutes left, so I'm going to quickly go through these 3 great reviews, and I highly urge you to go and read these reviews. Incidentally, the first one is coming in from Stephen Wilkins, one of our writers, and it is Headcount from 2018. I don't know why I struggled to say 2018. This one was directed by Ellie Callahan. It stars the likes of Isaac J, Jay Lee and Ashley Morgan. Now, in conclusion, Stephen, he thought it was an okay movie, but he didn't like bland gaps of action within there. He thought it was a painted-by-numbers paranormal horror movie, in a sense. It's all about doppelganger demons being summoned to a campfire with some teenage coming-of-age, I think, vibes going on within there. He says it was okay, but it was ultimately a bit of a dud in the end, and that was purely because of poor writing and some really snide decisions in the main. I don't think this is a movie that I would watch. I do like a good paranormal horror movie when it is really outstanding in a wide array of different ways, but my favourite type of horror has traditionally been psychological, the likes of Shining and whatnot. That's something that I really enjoy, so it's not one I'm going to go out my way to watch, sadly, but look, horses for courses and all that jazz, it may be something you like, and again, I urge you to go and read Stephen's review. It's a nice little read. The next movie though is Hustlers, obviously from 2019, and this one is coming in from D.M. Anderson, a simply superb writer, and he's been discussing the Lorraine, I can't even say that name, Lorraine Scafaria movie, of course written by Jessica Breslin. It stars a wide array of names in there, the likes of Constance Wu, Jennifer Lopez, Julia Stiles, I think Cardi B is in there as well, and it's about a group of female nefarious individuals. I think they go out and try and, how can I put this, take money off of gullible fools, misogynistic shits. Now, Dave really enjoyed this movie. He is very envious of Jennifer Lopez, of course, J-Lo, if I can speak. He's envious of her looks at a ripe age of 50, and look, I completely agree. She's looking pretty damn good for a 50-year-old. It's quite simply preposterous, really. He refers to her as a better acting version of the 70s Rachel Welch. Well, look, I never know if I'm saying that name right, incidentally, but Rachel Welch, is that the way you say it? Maybe you can tell me below. She still looks pretty damn good for someone that's in, I think, her 80s, so that's, some people obviously had plastic surgery done, but she looked pretty damn good into her late age. I digress. So I agree with Dave on that. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really speak about the artistic merits of the movie. Apparently a lot of people have really enjoyed it. They were blown away by J-Lo's performance, so much so they actually wanted her nominated for an Oscar. And Dave does say that she is one of the solid performers in the movie, especially from Lopez, he says. He says it's an okay movie. The structure is very similar to Goodfellas and Casino. It's almost like a Scorsese movie with strippers. So maybe I should go and watch this movie after all. A whole array of people have says it's very good, including Dave. Again, read the review if you enjoyed just that movie as a whole and you want to see a different, perhaps, perspective on it. But look, guys, I'm going to move on to the final review on this week's blog rundown. It's El Bar. This one's from 2019, and it has been reviewed by Peter Plumels. Again, a Belgian maestro of a reviewer, and this one has been directed by Alex de la Iglesia. I can't say that name, I am not Spanish. It stars the likes of Blanca Suarez, Mario Casas, and Carmen Machi. I don't know why I put myself through it, try to read those names. This is a foreign language Spanish movie with some horror elements and thriller, I think. No, it's a thriller comedy, I should say. Peter was maybe equally levels of confused, bemused, and maybe thrilled by this movie, I want to say. He says that it's slightly perplexing and that it never really does explain what has been witnessed by a number of people in this. Is it a viral outbreak, a zombie uprising, or something else entirely? But he does say as the movie does expand out, and he's a keen lover of non-English movies, much like myself, that it really becomes an engrossing watch, and that there is some good performances. There's some nice introduction of comedy within, sprinkled with some interesting social experiments, if you like, of how people handle stress and strange situations that they have perhaps been put into. And look, guys, he really enjoyed the movie, but most importantly, I think he really enjoyed Blanca Suarez and her nice pair of breasts, which were in the way of an escape. I'm intrigued by this movie. I do like a foreign language movie which has been shot well, certainly one that goes into the intricacies of Spanish life within the Madrid setting. I think it's in Madrid, I'm pretty damn sure it is, and just seeing things from a different perspective, a different way of living, it's always interesting. The fact that it is exploring some anxiety-ridden situations where people are dropping like flies and how people's personalities change as a direct consequence. Very intriguing to me. Dark humour's in there. He says that if you like one location movie stuffed with emotions and pinches of dark humour, then you should absolutely give this movie a chance. And look, I highly urge you once again for the third and final time to go and read this man's review. He has put a whole lot of effort into it. It's wonderfully written. He writes better English than I do, and I was born in the United Kingdom, so yes, highly urge you to go and read that one. But look, guys, that is going to round up today's MBE movie news in terms of the blog rundown, and as a homogenous whole, if you like. What did you make about the news of Denis Villeneuve wanting to come back to the universe or world of Blade Runner? Is this something that really strikes a chord with you? Is it something you are excited about? What do you make about Matt Damon starring once again under the tutelage of one James Mangold in the upcoming The Force movie? What do you think about Captain Marvel 2 losing its directors and Bradley Cooper having a real hands-on approach with the Joker? And of course, finally, Adam Sandler snubbing in his reasoning, or the Academy's reasoning behind it. If you've got anything to say about anything, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying content like this. And if you do, then you will see me tomorrow with Stephen for a review of The Gentleman. If you subscribe, then I'll see you then.